Hello and welcome to this presentation of the Premier Ultimate League on the PUL's YouTube channel. Today, the championship matchup in the PUL's international tournament between Medellin Revolution and the Austin Torch. This broadcast is brought to you by Spin Ultimate, the official live stream sponsor of the Premier Ultimate League. We are live from Fitzpatrick Stadium here in Portland, Maine. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ross Ketchke, joined in the broadcast booth this afternoon by General Manager of the PUL's Portland Rising, Maddie Purcell. Maddie, how you feeling on day 3 of the tournament?
Man, it has felt good to be back. I think we're going to show some highlights in just a minute, and the quality of play these athletes have been able to pull off after a long wait. It has just been amazing to see them back on the field.
All these teams training through a pandemic, some of them building their entire team throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. So amazing to see these rosters come together. And this afternoon, we're actually seeing a rematch of the pool play round that we saw last night. You were sitting in the booth for that game. What were some of your big takeaways?
I mean, the Revolution offense, when it gets going, is dominant, but we saw Ronnie Eater really screwing things up on defense, and one of the hardest things to do in sports is beat the same team back-to-back, so it'll be interesting to see what both of them bring that's new to the field today.
Revolution Pro winning that game 18-12 last night. Right now, taking a look at the field as teams are getting their in-stadium announcements right now. We got some highlights from this weekend's action coming up, and it has been a thrilling weekend of Ultimate here in Portland, Maine so far.
First play of the day you saw there, a layout D in the Portland Rising's first official game versus Revolution Pro Friday evening.
And the big sky over the top, one of the most exciting plays we saw there on night one.
The captain, 52, Caitlin O'Connell, a foot block from Ana Rojas, plays all over the field.
And this was a game that didn't start out all that close. Revolution at one point going up 6-1, but Portland Rising doing a remarkable job clawing back into it, making it a 4-point game to end. And it was even a similar story the very next day as they took on Torch, falling behind early in the first half, but really making it a narrow game towards the end. Lots of folks on the edge of their seats here at Fitzpatrick Stadium watching this exciting action.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we've seen this weekend is experience. I mean, it's been 2 years since these teams have played, but Revolution's a 20-year program. Austin Torch been playing together since 2017. These are Portland Rising's first games ever, and figuring out what it's like to play on the professional stage with the PUL.
And we're seeing just how well Rising has done here in their first matchups, not notching any W's, but definitely making some huge plays all over the field, like the skies over the top, the layouts, and really some of the top talent in the entire world playing here at Fitzpatrick Stadium this weekend.
Truly, when you see Cartagena launching to Laura Ospina in this highlight, you see Livka Valchek about to get D'd by Ronnie Eater here, but able to pull in 8 goals in a single game last night. Our player of the game for the opener, really just a dominant offensive performance from her.
So lots of exciting plays over the top as well. And of course, our highlight of the weekend, maybe the highlight of the year, coming up here in just a moment. This play is going to be all over Instagram, all over Twitter. You're going to be seeing this on Ultimate Highlight Reels for a long, long time. And the stadium erupting with these back-to-back layouts, first to keep the play alive and then to kill it in the end zone. And we're coming back out here live to the stadium right now. Just wrapping up player intros as we're a few moments away from the opening pull here in Portland, Maine. And as we're waiting for that opening poll, a quick breakdown of the rules. Now, this is mostly going to be like any Ultimate you've watched before, and if you're new to the game, it's pretty straightforward. Think of it like a combination of soccer and football. Catch the disc in the end zone to score. The field size is 80 yards by 40 yards. The end zones are both 20 yards deep, and not a little bit unlike regular Ultimate that you may have seen in the past. Instead of playing to a certain goal of points, we will be playing 4 12-minute quarters and 2 timeouts per half. Those are the clock rules there as well. And teams can also substitute on those timeouts as well. But for the most part, very similar to most high school, college, high-level club, any level club Ultimate that you may have seen before. certainly a much more comfortable day here at Fitzpatrick Stadium as well. Yesterday, players breathing a lot of heat and humidity, taking the heat breaks during the game, a lot more comfortable today. It's not cool by any stretch. It's 79 degrees, but a dew point below 50%, very comfortable, and a slight breeze about 10 miles an hour coming down end zone to end zone right now, but nothing that should be interfering with the disc too much. We did see the wind play a factor in the early part of Game 1 yesterday.
We did, but I mean, today is the kind of day that people come to Portland, Maine for in the summer. So I hope our athletes enjoy getting to play here. The fans have a great time in the stands, and it seems like great conditions to see some excellent ultimate.
We are vacation land for a reason. Taking a look at the field now, entering a moment of silence. We will be touching on that in just a moment, but in our broadcast, we will be joining our friends in the stadium for this moment of silence.
Please take a short moment of silence.
And Maddie, would you like to share with the folks watching around the world a little bit about this moment of silence and why it is becoming something that is being done at the beginning of each and every game here?
Yeah, the fact of where we are playing on Wabanaki land, and being here is both a privilege and responsibility. I mean, it's the state of Indigenous rights in Maine is sadly even worse than it is across most of the rest of the United States, following the 1980 Settlement Act. And so there's a huge and organized fight for Indigenous rights and sovereignty that we're seeing in the State House and communities around the country led by our Indigenous leaders, the tribes in Maine today, the Aroostook Band of Micmac, Holton Band of Maliseet, Passamaquoddy Tribe, and Penobscot Nation, the stewards of this land.
All right, thank you very much, Maddie. Moments away from opening poll now, and we'd like to thank everyone watching around the world for tuning into this 2021 Championship Series International Tournament. And a very special thank you to the fans joining us here in the stadium in Portland, Maine. If you're enjoying the live stream, please consider donating the cost of a ticket to the PUL. There are donation links here in the live stream. You can also donate at premierultimateleague.com/donate. And we're taking a live look right now at the opening lineups for tonight's matchup. Maddie, take us through.
So the story of the tournament so far, Livka Valchek, huge offensive production. We saw 8 goals from her last night. Every time she hits the field, it seems like she's streaking for the end zone. And defensively, super tight too. So a player to watch for sure. And someone else lighting up the stat sheet and throwing a lot of those goals to Livka, Valeria Cardenas. That IO flick, unmatched. We've got the speedster Laura Ospina, Manji Ferrero behind the disc. Ana Maria Rojas played a core role in the center of their zone sets. So look forward to seeing how they put this together today.
All right, and now Austin Torch here. A quick look at their lineups as we're already getting underway with the opening pull. Very exciting. We've got Austin picking up on offense. That one's sailing out of bounds. Oh, nope, rolling out. No, it did bounce out of bounds, so Torch will pick up in the center, about 20 yards out from their own end zone, looking to go just about 60 yards downfield, starting the game on offense. Looks like somewhat of a defensive cup set for Medellin to start this game.
That's the captain of Torch, Elise Bjork, with the disc. Looking for and around. Looks like that cup is sensing some wind, really wanting to force towards one sideline, and Austin fighting to keep the disc on the high side of the field.
And we saw this aggressive cup set as well, where the 2 players upfield are facing completely away, backs to the handler, really looking to take away any and all in-cuts coming in, mucking up things as much as possible.
We saw a minute there. This is Mendieta with the disc. Number 3, Julia Schmaltz for Torch, wide open on this near sideline. But that's not where Torch is trying to go, and they also weren't trying to go to ground. As a shot from Revo, a gift to give it back, Torch gets to try again.
Yep, looking for the quick turnaround right there after the mistake from Austin Torch to turn things over, but they'll pick up again and see what they can do about this zone, struggling to gain some yards out of it, but big potential right here after that nice swing underneath.
I'm surprised to see Torch crunched in so tight around the disc. It's playing right into the hands of this zone if they're able to punch through, get a few players ahead, make a bigger look downfield. Now you see Revo getting the disc onto this sideline where they've wanted it.
Loaded up the sideline, and there's the nice D coming there from number 32. That was Anali Maja getting the D there on the sideline.
And it looks like we have a foul on the field. Torch will be able to maintain possession.
May have been a strip call there. Looks like hands were on the disc when some contact was made. About 15 yards out from the end zone line now. Torch closing in. Number 19, Gabby Quina with the disc floating up into the end zone, but the nice D there to stuff it away. Number 57, Jimena Montaña.
You saw there once Torch got on that close sideline, Revo was able to keep the disc as Leaf Kavalchek shooting.
Big flick, and you can see the wind pushing that a little bit further downfield than maybe Leaf had intended to. Another turn here. Torch marching all the way back down to try to take the length of the field once more. That's 2 throws practically in a row from both teams that we've seen here that maybe getting a little bit more air underneath than they were anticipating. Lots of floaty discs out there. The wind's going to carry the Frisbee a little bit more further than they're ever hoping it to right now. That cup nice and tight.
I'll say. That is a lot of people. And so, and
just off the hands there of the Torch player. Revo picking up, looking to go the other way. A good opportunity to score here. Things get pretty tight along that sideline.
You see many Revo players hiding behind the disc, leaving space in the end zone.
And able to punch it home, but a pick call. That one will likely be going back.
Looks like it was on a player who did not catch the disc. Does not affect the play. Goal stands 1-0 Medellin.
Saw our observer there give the call.
And a sloppy point for both teams starting out there.
It's the championship round, understandable, maybe some nerves at play. Also, for sure, the windiest conditions that we've played in all weekend. We played in rain, sun, clouds, and now wind. We're really just missing a snowstorm, a good old-fashioned nor'easter here to hit the quadfecta.
Don't call that in.
I checked with the meteorologist. We're safe on that for at least another 3 weeks here in Maine. Although we do know a little too well that it starts earlier than we like it to every year.
So our game today is observed by Sam Schurer, Malika Smoot, and Stratton wearing the bright green shirts and helping players resolve any disputes. Players have the opportunity to call their own fouls, their own violations, travels, everything like that. If there is a dispute, observers help to settle it. They also will be making active in and out calls, whether a player catches it on the field, and up and down, whether the disc is live. So look to see them play a supporting role as we move through this championship final today.
Revolution Pro going up 1-0 here to start the game over Torch. Start the game on a break. Tough to ask for anything better than that. And definitely some sloppy play, lots of turns, and eating up more than 3 minutes of clock to start things off. We've got about 8:58 left to play here in the first quarter. Between Portland Rising and Austin Torch yesterday, we saw the lowest scoring quarter of the entire tournament this weekend. Only 4 points put up the board in total. And here comes the pull. And never mind. Thought, well, didn't like that first step. We'll try it again.
This is Laura Guerrero with the pull. Brought us a fantastic D highlight in the second game last night. Surely part of the highlights package as Torch gets to start around the 35-yard line.
O'Connell swings it to the sideline, looking upfield now, but nobody home. A turn right off the bat for Torch. Revo Pro looking to go the other way. 8:40 left here in the first quarter. Moving it up the middle now, closer to the sideline. Lots of space upfield. We've seen fantastic patience from Revolution Pro on the end zone here. Oftentimes not looking for their first or even second options. Missing on the layout there, but very close. Lots of pressure on the disc right now.
Huge bid from Abby Thorpe.
O'Connell's on the mark now.
And Ospina and many of these Rebel players using that inside backhand as we see a pick stop the play downfield, looking for those tight windows, but knowing their receivers and being able to put it just on the right shoulder where the defender can't quite make the play.
Lina Pereira has the disc for Revolution Pro. And another pick called almost immediately. Lots of, a pretty big crowd there, right smack dab in the middle of the end zone. And striking to the front of the end zone, not quite in yet. Right now it's number 7, Laura Ospina. And she's able to flip it in to her teammate, number 99, Lina Pereira.
The long arms of Brianna Stedman, like, reaching all the way around on that one.
A big hug. And almost fingertips on the disc there as well. We've seen a lot of pressure from Torch on some of these Ds, including that big layout that we saw. And just coming a little bit short, that was Abby Thorpe who tried on the big layout. There it is, the play right there on the highlight reel. Coming up just short. So a pair of breaks to start the game here for Revolution Pro.
Torch clearly here to play, though. That defense is as close as you can play legally. Ultimate, technically a no-contact sport. That doesn't mean the players never touch each other. It means there's, you know, no hitting, no bids into each other, and sometimes it's really towing that line.
I've explained it to friends who don't play the game before that it's no contact in a similar way that basketball is no contact, where you can't, there is plenty of physical contact in the game, and it certainly does happen, but you're not supposed to go out of your way to make contact with another player. And the disc is up and on the way, sailing down to the left side of your television screen, or more likely your computer screen.
We see another junk set from Revo, trying to hide space in front of the thrower and keep it on this near sideline. But a gap through to Carly Atwell, able to keep it going.
There is space in that junk set that they've found a few holes in this point. This is the best the offense has looked for Torch all game so far. Doesn't look like there's a mark right now, so lots of time for number 4, Sharon Zhao, to get rid of the disc. A violation called off screen.
Sharon Zhao, a player that we got to see a lot of really great things from last night. Making highlight plays, but making them in just an incredibly graceful fashion. I'm hoping she puts on a show again today.
A high IQ player, made lots of fantastic decisions, especially in situations like this on the end zone. The patience from both of these teams, not too trigger happy, but also not afraid to take the big shot and make excellently executed throws. And they'll punch it in. Austin Torch getting on the board for the first time today.
That's Sharon Zhao to Annie Ortiz for the goal.
Ortiz rocking the shades in the field today. A very sunny day. Certainly better than playing through the rainstorm that hit during the second quarter during their matchup with Portland Rising yesterday.
That was such a funny storm. 3 points of rain, one of them a downpour.
3 points, and yet still managed to be in the high 80s and unbelievably humid. Right now, 2-1. Medellin Revolution Pro against Austin Torch. O'Connell will be back to pull for Torch. Austin wearing their whites, Revolution Pro in the blacks. The pull from O'Connell on the way. Floating down, will land about 10 yards out from the end zone. Revolution Pro always doing a fantastic job of gaining yards wherever possible off the initial pull. The first throw falling right into the hands of the waiting Torch defender. They pick it up to go the other way immediately. An opportunity now to tie things up on a break. The swing to O'Connell. Centering back again for the reset. And off the hands of the in-cutter. A gift to go back the other way. Revolution Pro thinking end zone, plenty of space. Will she get there? It's hanging, it's floating, and feet touchdown in.
That's Leaf Volchek, first goal of the game.
Leaf Volchek has been an absolute offensive force all weekend long. Revo Pro going up 3-1 here in the first quarter of play. About 5 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock. And creating a lot of space going downfield there. Using that speed advantage to create more than enough room to track that one down. And trust with the teammate to put it out, let her go find it.
I think after the first 2 games we've seen this weekend with Volchek in the end zone, if you're not trusting her to receive that disc, you should be.
I don't think that's a problem for their team at all.
So first of the day for her. So we mentioned 8 in a single game last night. Are we going to see a similar type of performance from Volchek today?
She's on pace for it. Taking a look here at Revolution. Circling up, talking about their defensive set going down. We've seen them throw a few different variants of a zone at this Austin offense.
Volchek, a nice pull deep into the field and staying on for this D point as Revo continues to run this junk set.
A shot at the sideline now.
Schmaltz has been hanging on that wing all day.
Schmaltz known for being a powerhouse scorer as well. Doesn't take much to get the offense going. You can see her moving down the sideline now. One Revo player back to meet her.
That was a nice inside break to open things up about 5 passes ago from Ortiz. Able to just shoot through the cup, a real visionary pass that takes a lot of touch on the disc to get to the high side of the field. Now we see Revo in a person set as Torch attacks the end zone.
Oh, and a very nice job shimmying and shaking out of the way. And a nice little give and go there for the score. Annie Ortiz on that play.
Jamie Estes, the elbow spike to end it. That brings us to 2-3, Austin to Medellin.
The hard stop on the inside foot, creating all kinds of space. Watch the footwork. Absolutely loses the defender.
And Ortiz, involved with both of Austin's goals today, caught the first one, through the second, getting her team on the board.
Right now 3-2. Revolution Pro over the Torch. About 4:53 left to play. 4:53 in-house, 4:58 on the game clock here on the broadcast. This broadcast is brought to you by Spin Ultimate, the official live stream sponsor of the Premier Ultimate League. Torch with their defensive line on now, set to pull off to the waiting Revolution at the other end. Locking arms, hands up in the air in the end zone. And here comes the pull.
Seeing more of this tight person defense from Torch, really trusting their legs and their positioning as a big bid coming through from Ronnie Eater. We've seen a lot of highlight reel from her this weekend. Doesn't get that one, but that Eater-Volchek matchup, one to keep an eye on for sure. As Valeria Cardenas opens it up to the same matchup, and Volchek for the goal.
Again, an absolute offensive stud, just continuing to show out here in the tournament this weekend, making her presence felt in the final right away. And a decent amount of scoring we've seen here to start this game off. The wind not appearing to be too much of a factor. We did see a couple throws get away just to start, but that's certainly not hanging around at all. We've seen some beautiful looks downfield and some awesome connections. Teammates putting a lot of faith in each other to go track those down.
So you see Eater just missing that bid, and then, I mean, if your defender has just gone all out on a bid for you and you get the turn, I mean, going to the end zone is a smart choice there. Putting Leif Volchek in the end zone is a smart choice at any point.
Volchek, a native of Switzerland, has played in Germany in both mixed and women's divisions for high-level club teams. Currently working towards playing in the World Games for Team Germany. first joining Revo for the U24 Worlds in 2019.
Fun fact, she's also training for the Spike Ball World Championship this year with her girlfriend from Switzerland. So,
An athlete of many talents.
We got to find out when that is so we can tune in. As Torch passes the half-field mark, looking down to Schmaltz.
The swing back to the center now. A violation called up field. That one will come back. Looks like it affected the cut. Number 3, Julia Schmaltz with the disc right now. Schmaltz swings it back to the center.
We're seeing a wide gap between handlers and cutters here right now on the Torch side as Bjork bobbles but able to hang on and starts directing field.
Bjork able to get a nice little 10-yard shot upfield, and now to the end zone. Hanging on and finding the end zone is number 4, Sharon Tsao.
Carly Atwell with the assist, and we saw Sharon Tsao streaking, 25 yards out, just completing that cut all the way through. Defender no chance to catch up.
And a very nice job from Bjork directing traffic, clearing some space out for that play to develop. Thinking not just one, but 2 throws down the line.
Tsao also on both sides of the stat sheet already, throwing the first assist for Austin and catching that one. She and Annie Ortiz putting in work to put goals on the board.
And Sharon Tsao designing the dark jerseys for Torch. They're wearing their whites today, but we got to see those in action yesterday. Some of the cooler jerseys that we've seen in the field so far, though all these teams really bringing the heat with some awesome designs. The pull from O'Connell now, floating down right to left. It'll sail about 10 yards out from the end zone as Revo Pro picks up, looking to extend their lead right now. It's a 3-4 matchup, an exciting first quarter of action with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Violation called upfield. Ospina with a disc now. Finding the in cutter.
A nice amount of space there from Revo.
Volchek resets. Looks like another pick called. See the observer stepping in, making sure everyone's in the right spot when the call was made.
Cardenas with the disc.
Cardenas thinking end zone.
And it works. Cartagena able to twinkle toes it in for the goal.
And just in case, Volchek was there, hands ready, thinking goal number 3 for today.
Not that time.
Doing it by committee. The spacing there, you pointed it out, really nice on that point. Things got a little jammed up in the end zone there, but there are worse problems than having too many receivers downfield to catch the frisbee.
Too many
high-level,
right.
fantastic hands who have been absolutely showing out on offense.
There we go. Yeah, I feel like just saying receivers at this point is selling it short. Valeria Cardenas with the 2 most recent assists for Colombia.
And hey, speaking of receivers, layout gloves. Layout gloves are the official gloves of the Premier Ultimate League and Portland Rising. Layout gloves provide unmatched grip performance to help you up your game. Grab your pair of gloves at layoutultimate.com. The pull on the way now, heading down towards Torch on the left side of the field. Atwell floating that one over the top.
We see Torch pretty committed to, as I say that, they move to the trap sideline, but trying to work for the harder throw rather than taking the open shot that Revo Pro wants them to right on the sideline with Atwell now.
And that disc finding the turf, no receiver around. Players pause. A call somewhere up the field. The observer stepping in now. They're able to work it out. Revolution Pro picks it up going the other way. A minute 30 left on the clock, and a reminder as we count down to the end of the first quarter here. The play does not end necessarily at the end of the clock. Whoever has possession at the end of the first, second, and third quarters will get to finish out that point, and either on a D, an out-of-bounds throw. And that one streaking downfield, a huge bid just out of the fingertips, just out of the reach of the streaking Revolution cutter.
Cardenas looking for assist number 3, just too far that time.
So with a minute left on the clock, whoever has that possession gets to finish out their point until there's a D, a turnover, or a score.
Sao able to chase that one down on the second attempt.
Finding space downfield.
Estes wide open, wants to throw.
A one-on-one matchup and finding the teammate in the end zone.
Estes, the most recent Torch player, assuming this counts, to get on both sides of the stat sheet. Caught a goal earlier through that assist, but it looks like we are still having a discussion. Sounds like there was an injury on the field before the throw. Play stops at the moment of injury, so we are going to maintain Torch possession and scratch that goal from our stat sheet. Torch still working it towards their own end zone.
At the moment of the injury. So I think it was about when you were catching it. So, okay.
We're getting to hear from observer Sam Schurer there. Sam's dad, Jeff, watching the streams this weekend and texting his analysis of Sam's calls after the play, whether he thinks he got it right. So far, good news. Jeff agrees with Sam on all of them as we see another shot. Torch makes it real this time. That's Carly Atwell throwing to Gabby Quina for the goal.
Some fantastic work from all of our observers this weekend.
A hot one for them, huh?
A very hot one for them. I'm sure they appreciated those heat breaks yesterday just as much as the players in the field did.
I think they did, and
we love the Texas flag shorts there showing out. A little bit of style.
From head coach Shireen Rabi. As Carly Atwell with that one, 2 assists in a row. We are having some competition for who is putting these discs in the end zone.
It's a high honor to be named the player of the game. And it falls on us, so these players really trying to impress the broadcast booth team right now.
I'd say it's working.
I'd say it's working because everyone's blowing us away right now. This is one of the more balanced games, at least to start, that we've seen so far. A few lopsided starts so far earlier this weekend.
We see Ronnie Eder on the line this time, coming down on defense for Torch, a playmaker all weekend. Keep an eye on that matchup.
Eder and O'Connell for Torch have both been making big plays all weekend. Excited to see them both share the line.
It's a tricky cut in the middle of the field for Cartagena.
Some movement stopping downfield, violation. Players will chat it over.
Probably the most calls we've seen in a first quarter.
Well, we've been talking about how tight some of that defense has been on both sides and some of those real near misses. And when you're playing that tight, there's going to be contact, there's going to be collisions, those picks will get called.
As we see another one.
We spoke that one into existence. Now, time is expiring on the clock here. That means Revolution Pro will be able to finish out this possession, but as soon as there's either a turn or a score, the quarter will end and we'll head into the second in a few minutes. Revo with a chance to go up 2 here, heading into the second. It's been a tight first quarter of action. Now on the doorstep, just a few yards out. A near collision, but tiptoeing into the end zone.
Cardenas receiving from Cartagena and just swiping that disc around out of the air. Reversing our last goal, this one. Cartagena throwing to Cardenas to take us to the end of the first quarter.
All right, and we're taking a look at some of the highlights that we've seen of this matchup so far. An exciting first quarter of play, and things are real tight. Austin Torch 4, Revolution Pro 6. We're back with more here, and the championship game of the Premier Ultimate League's International Tournament in just a few minutes. Stick with us. Welcome back to this presentation of the Premier Ultimate League here at Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland, Maine, as Austin Torch takes on Medellin Revolution Pro after the first quarter of action. We've got Revolution Pro 6, Torch 4. Right now, Revolution is picking up after scoring to end the first quarter of play.
Some quick movement to get it started from Revo, then opening up for a bigger gain to Ospina.
A nice shot around the break side right there to gain some yards. Back to the center now. Looking up the side.
So far, a story of two defenses. We've seen primarily junk from Revo and primarily person, quite tight person from Torch, as we get a little bit of a tie-up again there.
For sure the most calls that we've seen in the weekend, at least to start a game so far right here. I don't know that we've gotten through a point clean quite yet. Taps back in. The reset for the stall there. Swung back to the middle, now looking break side. Finding it, the nice layout extension from Valchek to keep that play alive. Valchek has been having an absolutely incredible weekend on the offensive side of the disc.
Meg Henderson apparently close enough to, that was close enough that the pick affects play, goes back to Manji Ferrero.
These teams matching up last night as well in pool play. Revolution winning that one 18-12, but an absolutely thrilling game end to end. We're in for more of that so far.
I do think it'll be slightly more thrilling if we are able to clean up some of these pit calls. As a nice inside shot, a lot of touch on it to Cartagena for the goal.
And that is not an easy throw either, keeping it real low and out of reach of the Cutter's defender. Cartagena able to gather, create plenty of space going to the break side. I would like to take a moment to thank some of our Rising partners. Girl Scouts of Maine is beyond proud to support Portland Rising. Before they were Ultimate Legends, many team members were Girl Scouts, and they are groundbreaking role models that girls need today. Girl Scouts of Maine builds courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Join or volunteer today. You can find more information at girlscoutsofmaine.org. And taking a look at the replay there, again, the fantastic inside-out throw to find the cutter to the back of the end zone. Cartagena catching it for the score right now. Medellin Revolution Pro going up 7-4 over Austin Torch. Revolution Pro now able to start both the first and second quarters on a break. And here comes the pull. A low pull, tapping just about 5 yards out from the center line. It'll roll back closer towards the middle of the field as well. Some solid field positioning to start with for Torch. More of that junk zone now, nice and tight as well. Not a lot of space to throw around. The scooper over the top to find some space. Now out to the sideline, going cross field, back to the middle. And the layout to grab the disc, that's number 2, Elise Bjork. Bjork now looking up the strike side, tapped away, bobbled, and that'll be a turn.
I think Ana Rojas able to get hands on that as...
The closing speed on that as well, so difficult on the defense. And another pick call here. Players moving back to their spots.
Little reenactment, looks like a run and hug that we are figuring out over on the far sideline.
When the mic's not on, it's almost like playing charades from a distance.
I'm asking. Get on 5.
And here and there from our observer, Stahl coming back in on 5.
Any new fans to the broadcast, you have 10 seconds, which we must have gotten close to there. It looks like.
Looks like there may have been that stall call, which I think would only be the second one we've seen all weekend.
It is. The offense is generally able to create something, but I'm not sure that number 57, Jimena Montaña, was able to get rid of the disc on that one.
If we were tapping back in on 5, we are certainly going right up to the line there. It is the defensive player who counts the stall, not the observer. For those of you watching at home who may be new to Ultimate, it's not like when 10 is done being counted. It's when that T sound comes out, and players are, of course, quick to call that.
Hard when you're the defender not to speed up a little when you're getting close to 10, and of course then to fast count doesn't count. So discipline to count it. Looks like Gerensser able to draw the stall that time. No offensive release for Revo. Not often we see that.
And we've seen that tight person defense though from Torch, and it's paying off on a possession like that where there's no options further up the field, and doing a great job of taking away the easy resets as well. Revolution now in person, leaving that junk zone behind. A shot to the end zone. It's floating up. It'll be a one-on-one. An incredible number 3, Julia Schmaltz, going up for the sky and score.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen Torch trying for that shot more this weekend. Schmaltz, such a dominant receiver in the air, and height advantage on most players in the PUL. Put it up for her. We see Annie Ortiz looking, making the decision. Schmaltz brings it down. That brings us to Medellin 7, Austin 5, with 8 minutes left in the second, 8 minutes 2 to be precise.
Schmaltz, one of many players in the team who's been on Torch for a few seasons now, first joining back in 2019. And in that 2019 season, led in Ds and goals and second in assists. A player who can really do it all over the Ultimate field.
As a short pull coming out from Torch, Revo gets to pick up at half field, attacking.
It's the second short pull going in that direction we've seen. I do wonder if there's a breeze coming end zone to end zone in the opposite way. A look towards the end zone now, the big backhand floating down, curling in, the sliding catch that looked up from here.
I thought I might have seen it bounce on the ground, but
the observer calls it up. Here, we'll take this look at the slow-mo replay.
Super slow.
Super slow, frame by frame.
Ooh, the rim. Interesting. I don't think she had possession stopped, but I also don't think it hit the ground during that time. I think it stayed up on her fist. You see, as she rolls.
She gets the hand underneath it, and the possession comes when she stops the rotation. That one's close. And that might be, to borrow a baseball term, a tie goes to the runner type situation.
Looks like maybe there was possession at the first instance of contact as she went to ground. Definitely not two hands on the disc, no closure on the disc in the middle there, but I think this might have been the right call. I think when the disc was not touching the ground is when there wasn't possession, so.
And I believe that when she had stopped possession with the pancake when she was making contact, and then it was as
That's a close one, though.
Very, very close, but I agree. I think the right call there from the observer to give that. The point goes on the board now for Medellin Revolution Pro. They've got 8. They lead Torch, who has 5. A lot of the offense going right to left today, at least here in the second quarter. Torch back to receive this pull, looking to close the gap. A blade now. This is the furthest pull we've seen going in that direction, and I guess it took the roll. There must be a breeze going end zone to end zone right now, because players have also been feeling very empowered to take that shot right to left across your screen downfield right now.
Jamie Estes thinking about it. And we have a bilingual game on the field today. Many of the Revolution Pro players speaking Spanish, and observers making sure that we have clear communication among all players between English and Spanish as we play a fair game.
No contest on that foul there. We play on. The reset taken away, and then a shot, the flick going outside, back in. The incredible sky going up over the top of
Sharon
everybody.
Tsao with the huge sky.
Sharon Tsao, I didn't know you had the ups like that. Wow. Sharon Tsao elevating above everybody on the field on that. I'm still shaken up.
I don't think Sao was the tallest player in that pack either.
I think maybe the shortest player on the field, or if not, dang close to it.
On the doorstep now, Gabby Quino with the disc, stall rising, and a cheeky inside to Elise Bjork to make that Sao Sky worth it.
Was that with the left hand? Was that the offhand over the top? Nice little cheeky high release? We got to get another look at that sky from Sao. Oh my goodness. Wow, 6 minutes left to play. All right, here it comes. The big, high arcing flick, floating through the air and getting high up above everyone. The face plant landing, but still plenty graceful.
I don't think Este's meant to put that disc up quite as floaty as she did, but Sao taking care of business.
Well, we saw the first handful of deep shots this game look that way. You got to figure that's the wind being a little bit of a factor. As we can see, Coach's shorts blowing around a little bit in the wind there. We don't have a fantastic look of a flag from the broadcast booth. The one that I can see in the distance is fluttering just a little bit. A little bit of perspective for some of you watching around the world right now. We are here close to downtown Portland, Maine, playing right next to what is Hadlock Stadium, which is the home of the AA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox, the Portland Sea Dogs, so the sports hub of Portland, Maine. Also right next to where the Maine Celtics, the NBA G League affiliate, plays. Now home to another professional sports team as well, Portland Rising, who had a fantastic showing here this weekend in their inaugural breakout performance as part of the Premier Ultimate League. Right now, Revolution Pro with the disc, moving it towards the middle, now up to the side, approaching midfield. Some communication here after the violation, working to figure out what happened. A travel called.
Stall coming in on 2 as Revo looks to advance the disc.
Nice break side throw there. Leaf Volchek with the disc now.
It's that Volchek-Eater matchup in the middle of the field, moving towards the end zone.
About 20 yards out now. Now on the doorstep, close to their own pylon.
Ooh.
Nice work. The blade coming to the end zone. The full extension bid falling just out of reach.
And that was a late throw. That cutter got open long before the disc went up and just made it hard in the back of the end zone where there was some traffic to pull it in, but not for lack of trying.
No, not at all. An incredible effort. You can see that one got a little blady as well, perhaps bladier.
Woo!
And hands on the disc, just can't keep possession.
I think she
coming
had
down.
it for the first second of that.
And a timeout called there by Torch.
Cardenas with that big attempt play in the back of the end zone. We've seen her as one half of the play of the weekend so far, that double layout Ronnie Eater catch to Cardenas D.
And that was such an incredible play that we saw between these two teams yesterday. Do you think Ronnie Eater was upset that her highlight almost got a little bit taken over, or do you think it's like game recognized game? I feel like it has to be
the latter.
I mean, I don't care who you are. That was one of the most incredible plays that I've ever seen on an ultimate field.
That was just fire. I mean, obviously, if you've done that level of effort to keep the disc alive, you want to punch it in, but when you're playing against Valeria Cardenas, sometimes you're not going to get that option.
Absolutely not. And we'd like to thank everybody watching around the world for tuning in to this 2021 PUL Championship Series International Tournament. This is the final matchup right now. This is for all the marbles, and a very special thanks to everyone joining us here in person at Fitzpatrick Stadium. If you're enjoying this live stream, please consider donating the cost of a ticket to the PUL. There are some donation links right here in the live stream. You can also head to premierultimateleague.com/donate. All right, disc tapped back in here. Torch looking to go 80 yards to score to close it to 1. The floaty over the top doesn't quite get there off the hands of the cutter. 10 yards out from the end zone now. Revolution the chance to go up 3. Now looking to punch it home close to their own pylon. Able to do it, and Leaf Volchek again. Who else? The third of the day.
We saw on that, coming out of the timeout, Torch set up early, had a really disciplined horizontal stack ready to go. And Revolution looked like they were matching up in person, but then Valeria Cardenas left and just ran around the middle of the field, causing havoc, and didn't put a hand on the disc for the D, but gummed up the movement of Torch and what they were expecting to see, creating a turn and the opportunity for Revo to punch in the short.
And there in the replay, seeing the speed of Leaf Volchek, able to create just that inches of space needed to be able to punch it home there on the open side. Revolution Pro now up 3. They put 9 on the board in the first half of play so far. 4 minutes, 34 seconds left to go here in the second quarter.
So what's it going to take for Torch to take down Medellin?
I mean, you got to like what you've seen from their offense so far, but a few little mistakes, more than a few times now we've seen the disc bouncing off the hand. I think it's as simple as cleaning up some of those options. I mean, a team like Medellin Pro, the Revolution Pro's going to score. They have some of the most talented offensive players. It's a matter of not letting your mistakes, essentially dig your own grave for you. You have to come out and play a clean game, and you also have to take some of those shots downfield. We talked about how they weren't necessarily looking to a player like Julia Schmaltz as much in the end zone, maybe as much as we would expect them to, and it might take some of those bigger shots and some of those quicker scores to get yourself closer back into this game and, if possible, pull ahead. But step number one's got to be just cleaning up some of those little mistakes, because right now you're your own worst enemy.
This point is looking pretty nice, with Torch maintaining great spacing, a lot of open field for cutters to run into, no high stall situations. Val Pinillos with the disc right now as the handlers move it around. We are 10 yards from the end zone. Atwell showing she can hit the end zone today as Mendieta takes possession and finds the bidding Estes just on the doorstep.
Almost no space there right in front.
Looks like maybe a foul call.
Maybe a high five there on the release. Uncontested, so the stall will go back to 0. And Schmaltz is standing in that stack, waiting to strike. We'll see if they can get it perhaps over the top. The cut now coming out of the back of the stack. Looking break side now, and found in the back of the end zone is, there she is, Julia Schmaltz. We talked about her being there in the stack, waiting for the moment to strike. Her second time finding the disc in the end zone this afternoon.
And part of it, maybe that's a very disciplined end zone offense. Cuts from the back of the stack, reset, coming out into the field. That's, classic, prototypical end zone offense. It's also maybe not where Schmaltz gets to use her special skills. Like, she's an elite ultimate player. But
a player with so much vertical ability who can truly go up over anyone and pull that disc down, but that is textbook ultimate what we saw right there.
Hard to argue with it.
Dump, swing, strike, cut from the back of the stack. Very, very simple. And the best players do the little things right all the time.
It's true. And on the stream, we like to see some highlights, so maybe put it up every now and then.
I think we're doing okay in that department. We're certainly not lacking.
All right. We'll take some boring end zone O, punch it in, as we see Revo very united, ready to receive on O.
I once had a basketball coach tell me that a layup and a dunk are worth the same amount of points.
I was actually talking to some of the staff of the city of Portland who've been helping us put on this tournament this weekend about the finer points of game rules, and that was one of their questions. How do you score more than 1 per point? I told them you just can't do it.
As the only
Eater and Volchek going up for that. The throw probably not exactly where intended. Volchek tried to back up into it, but a tough read, and Eater able to put a hand on it. Torch's disc.
O'Connell's going to pick it up. Big flick downfield, and finding the hands of the defender. Revolution going the other way now. The big fake to create a little bit of space at the middle now. Thinking break side, finding room. And a look to the end zone, open and just out of reach.
Too open.
A little, I would agree, a little too open. It looks like a pick was called, but it won't matter.
Because
Torch will pick up and go in the other way.
Right, so on a pick, if the offense basically gets to use their advantage, and it was illegally gained through a pick, then the disc has to go back. If they throw it away themselves, no harm, no foul.
You gotta catch it, basically. If you don't catch it, it's the turnover. Same as always. Oh, missing on the big layout right there. They were looking for the opportunity to gain on the break side throw.
Asking for a lot from a reset, a big 40-yard swing.
And
Amy Broom making a bid.
And no other handlers back there with O'Connell either for that reset. Oh. Uncontested foul. That disc will go back to O'Connell.
So the disc not coming out exactly as O'Connell intended there. Gets to try again.
Captain for Revolution Pro, Andrea Torres on this mark. Alejandra Torres.
And a tight pressure. Oh, looks like possibly another foul. But nothing available for Torch. Revo, we've seen them in that junk. Right now they are in person defense and not giving an inch.
Some very, very tight person defense that we've seen here.
Uncontested, right? You agree that there was fast count?
I'm not agree. I'm not agree.
So contest.
It's only 8.
Okay.
Fast count contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still 8.
Hold on 1 second. I need to adjust the clock. What was the clock at whenever the...
Taking a listen in there to the observer checking in. Sounds like there was a call of a fast stall count, which means that disc will come back and the stall will start at 8. O'Connell will have only 2 seconds to get rid of the disc or risk a turnover right at the doorstep of her own end zone.
And 2 of the last 30 seconds available in the half. As we mentioned, the team with possession at the buzzer maintains possession through until they either score or turn it over. So this is a time when you might have to take a shot.
And so what's the play here? Do you think punt, or do you think try to get this reverse to your handler who's hanging out back with you, because then you're maybe at risk of being in Callahan territory, especially with very little time to get anything off clean.
And Volchek, the defender. I'm throwing downfield if I'm O'Connell there.
I'm thinking punt as well. Volchek, one of the speediest players that we have on the field, and you got to think that any space you're getting there, she'll be able to close that distance.
I don't think
Fast count is not, no.
You
You just dropped the 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up. I think it was a fast count. I think you need to drop 2. I think we need to come in on 6.
Okay.
Yes?
Great.
All right, excellent.
All right, so a fast count there called, meaning that it will, instead of coming in on 8, it will be coming in on 6. A little bit more time to possibly get a look instead of just the punt downfield. And there's the look, connecting with the cutter.
10 fresh seconds.
And no need to be overly antsy here as we take the big flick shot downfield.
A little bit of a body out from Cardenas.
And timeout called with 13 seconds on the clock. That timeout called by Revolution Pro.
And you see the discussions as players disagree about exactly what happens on the field. But then as it settles, it's the fist bump, it's the high five, it's the all right play on. Good spirit.
And we've seen a lot of calls this game too. That can get particularly frustrating for the players. It can be hard to find some of that rhythm, but you see the spirit winning out there for sure. There's 14 seconds left on the clock here at Fitzpatrick Stadium in the second half of action. Right now, Austin Torch trailing by 2. They're down 7-9 to Medellin Revolution Pro. Revolution Pro has the disc with 14 seconds left, and all they need to do here is protect possession for the next 14 seconds. If they can do that, as the clock expires, they'll have all the time that they need to go down the field and protect that possession with a chance to score.
It's actually a great point. It is not in Revolution's best interest to score fast. They should want to hold. They should want to score in 15 seconds or more. If they score in 14 seconds or less, Torch gets another chance.
Precisely. Seeing a zone set here from Torch.
as they have 7 seconds to disrupt.
Hoping for maybe a quick D on the mark.
Looks like we have a call.
And that'll expire time on the clock.
So Revolution's disc for the rest of the half, will it be a 3 or a 2-point game?
Went out of bounds. That's a travel call. Said 2 coming in on 3. In on 3.
We see most of the field on this sideline.
A good job finding that reset. Nobody else there home on the swing side. The reset again. And there's the swing that they were looking for last time around.
No penalty for losing yards in Ultimate, except that you've got to regain them if you're going to score. So able to dump, reset as far back as you like. Carden is with the disc in a tight mark situation from O'Connell. Man, we've seen O'Connell doing it on both sides of the disc this year. Valchek able to hold on to that. Looks like a little bit of a shin bounce catch. O'Connell maintains possession. Wow, really trapping the reset, not letting them throw backwards in the field. As Revo maintaining possession, but struggling to move downfield against that torch set they appear to have fallen out of.
Revolution has been keeping 3, sometimes even 4 handlers back the entire time as well, making some of those resets pretty easy. You got to think that that's something that Torch is keeping in mind when they're drawing up this defensive set. Flashing back to Person now that Revolution's been able to march it down closer to the end zone. An easy reset swing into the sideline. Up the line now, about 20 yards out from the end zone. Looking to close the half on a score.
Travel called. And play on. The best possession management we've seen yet from a team trying to milk their way into the end zone before halftime.
And clock's off, pressure's off. You don't have to necessarily worry about getting a D and letting the other team score. Worst case scenario here is you still go into halftime with a 2-point lead.
Yeah, not bad. I think, though, that the pressure of playing with a clock, especially for players new to the pro scene, is something that hasn't become ingrained yet the way the rest of Ultimate has, and sometimes that countdown can cause people to panic a little bit. Revolution showing no signs as they...
Ooh, a look to the end zone there. Some contact on that strike cut as they went up for it, but no call, and that'll end the half.
And wow, all that work on offense and still no goal. I mean, that was clinical from Revo. Probably 30, 35 passes to get to the doorstep, and just good defense from Torch, not letting it in.
Yeah, surgical precision, making their way back and forth, swinging the disc up side to side, first be able to break down that zone, and then doing a good job finding some open options once they switch to Person as well. Can see Leaf Valchek, a big story of the first half. She's been all over the offensive side of the disc, using the speed to the advantage. Some big plays over the top as well from Julia Schmaltz. Right now it is Austin Torch 7, Revolution Pro 9 at the end of the first half of play. We'll be back with a little bit more in your second half of action in just a few minutes here on the Premier Ultimate League's YouTube channel.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work and determination to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side. Because true greatness doesn't just happen.
and we are here in the broadcast booth with Michal Brandy, the PUL's new communications manager. Just joined the team a month and a half ago, right before leading up into our return to competition.
Sure did.
What have your first 6 weeks been like?
Oh man, it has been nonstop busy, just trying to get everything set for these tournaments. Just wrapped up East in Bayonne, New Jersey. Raleigh taking it over DC. That was super exciting game. And now we've got the second half of the international tournament right here. Revo, Austin, very exciting so far, a lot of highlights. And my job has been extremely busy to get all the highlights on our social media to make sure that everybody's tagged and we've got graphics, and even right before I came on this live stream, I was finishing up the graphic for whoever might win this game. So very exciting. Yeah.
We have no idea, 2-point game at this point.
I've got a lot of graphics to make.
Well, we'll let you get back to it in a minute, but before we do, Michal, you have never played an Ultimate game.
No,
Big fan of Brute Squad, but what's it been like seeing this professional Ultimate played, and how are you liking the adjustment to promoting this game?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work in professional sports before, previously with the Boston Breakers and the National Women's Soccer League, and really, what it comes down to is I just like talking to people, and I'm very passionate about, women's and non-binary and trans intersex sports, and so basically non-cis men sports is my interest. So just want to sort of build that up and show people the skill of our athletes and really just continue to grow the game. And it's a lot to learn. Me personally, with an outsider perspective, I've never played a game of Ultimate. I'm still learning all the terms, but I've got a good community around me, and everybody at the PUL has been so welcoming and really supportive, and so I see a bright future ahead for us and looking forward to being a part of it.
Well, so talking about growing the game and the bright future ahead, I mean, what are the opportunities that you're seeing coming in from the outside for the league moving forward?
Yeah, I think for me personally, a lot of what I've been doing is trying to watch as much previous game footage as I can, try to see, what are some of the highlights, and as well as familiarize myself with the terms. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what sport it is, but as long as there's something exciting to watch, then, it's easy to pass that along.
Yeah, and last question before I let you get back to the graphics. I know we've talked a lot about the value alignment between players, fans, how the league moves forward. How does that play into your role as a communications manager and how we are working together with our fans to build a wonderful league?
Yeah, as the communications manager, I have the privilege to amplify the voices of so many, wonderful staff and athletes themselves. And so, I'm just here to be the conduit for the message. So if the message is that sports are political, then that's what we're going to talk about. If the message is that anybody who wants to play sports should, then that's what we're going to talk about. And, I think the audience will pick up on that, Well,
thank you so much, Michal. So
Thank
happy
you
to
for
have
having
you on
me.
board.
See you all soon. Go Brute Squad.
What makes design unique? That uniqueness is innovation. My name is Ebenezer Akako, a native of Ghana. Growing up, my dad was an architect. Maybe that is where it all started. As part of wanting to be an architect, I attended Ghana Secondary Technical School. I also got extremely intrigued by technical drawing. When I graduated, my dad was like, I think you should go into jewelry making. And for a second, I was like, wait a minute, jewelry making? I mean, what is that? The first time I went to the jewelry shop, the manager had a degree in jewelry making from the university, looking like a doctor. I was like, wow, this is actually cool. My dad decided to send me out to Italy to study jewelry design and stone setting. It opened the next level of design, the next level of thinking about symmetry, about thinking of, even though it is handmade, there has to be a level of precision. When I was also in Italy, I got the advantage to attend a show in Munich, Germany called Int'l. It was there that I actually saw firsthand how technology was going to revolutionize design in general. We have these symbols in my native country, Ghana, that are being underutilized. So my whole goal was, how do I take these visual language symbols and elevate them into our modern culture? and keeping the integrity of the symbol, but still telling the story. That same story I see even in my work today. I see that by using the patterns to create coasters, earrings, pendants, cuffs, people look at them and they find their own story. They find their own voice. And that is what makes it complete. And it also makes me happy that I'm bringing this ancient language from my native country. Most of my customers have never been there, but they're able to find their own voice. And that voice is hidden in the pattern.
And welcome back live here to Fitzpatrick Stadium in beautiful Portland, Maine, as we get ready for some second half action between Austin Torch and Medellin Revolution Pro. This is a presentation of the Premier Ultimate League, the championship matchup in the PUL's international tournament. We are in day 3 of play right now and have seen some absolutely incredible matchups, including these two teams squaring off in pool play last night. Also competing this weekend has been the inaugural games for Portland's very own Portland Rising. I'm joined here in the broadcast booth by Rising's general manager, Maddie Purcell.
Yeah, thanks for having me here in the broadcast booth, Ross. Pleasure getting to spend it with you.
Thank you for having me. The initial invite came from you.
Oh.
And I'm very happy to be here.
We both are. Yeah, some great Frisbee, great seat in the house. We are elevated above the field and looking forward to the second half. Stat watch, as we've mentioned, Volchek putting up 8 goals last night, has 3 to her name currently. Other leaders, we have Cartagena throwing 3 assists, catching 1 goal for Revolution, and Cardenas putting up 2 assists, 1 goal, and a D. On the other side, we have Julia Schmaltz with 2 goals, and many players with 2 points on the assist line. Sharon Sau, Elise Bjork, and Carly Atwell among them, as a well-balanced attack bringing us to this 2-point game, second half of the International Tournament Finals.
And Revolution Pro just missing out on an opportunity to punch in 1 more score to end the first half. They'll pull to start the second. We've got Torch waiting down on the right side of the screen to receive. Here comes the pull. Second half action underway here in the Premier Ultimate League.
Torch with their classic couple people hanging behind the disc, giving Cutter space upfield. It works, and no shot, but a Cutter streaking deep. Volchek, the defender, perhaps a good decision.
We saw a lot of zone defense from Revolution Pro in the first half, but coming out in a person set, and now the shot downfield, falling just out of reach.
Schmaltz chucking that one out for Ivy Harrison to go make a play on. A big play attempted.
The big flick falling just about a hand's length out of reach for Ivy Harrison.
And a break attempt out of half for Medellin. Torch, a good job to keep this a 2-point game, I would say. A rough beginning for both teams. Medellin figured it out a step quicker, and both teams in it, but now Revolution looking to add to their lead as they move toward the end of this game.
And the difference is Revolution Pro has been able to come out in both the first and second quarter and score on a break. That's the difference in the score right now. The big flick upfield, now it's floating, plenty of space. Torch recovering, that's number 92, Karen Rico on the grab there downfield. Patience here in the end zone. Here's Leaf Volchek.
The thrower of that to Rico. Volchek looking to make another play. And
Volchek now streaking in. And that's goal number 4 for Leaf Volchek. The speed to create space off the little shovel pass. All it takes to get room to score in the end zone, striking up line just past the pylon.
Seeing a real 2-person game around that pylon, sometimes that is the easiest. It's a tight space. You bring anyone more in there. Hard to clear out, to avoid the pick, to avoid the D. Rico and Volchek playing Frisbee on their own.
Volchek truly becoming a household name in the sport of Ultimate on multiple continents, a native of Switzerland, playing at high levels in Germany, joining this Medellin team just a few years ago. Now tearing it up here in the United States Northeast in Portland, Maine. 4 goals on the night. Pretty close to being on pace to match the 8 last night. I wonder if she'll beat it.
Ross, you know, I think Leaf is currently based in Basel, Switzerland, but a native of Germany.
A native of Germany.
Definitely that European heritage, a treat to get to see here competing with the South American team in North America. We've got the continents on display as the game of Ultimate, truly a worldwide game.
All right, Revolution set to pull after scoring off the break to start the game. That one will float down just around center field. O'Connell picking up.
They call her Carl. Rock of the offense handling, also a huge mark on defense. Really a stalwart member of Torch's play this weekend, as conversation around the stack but doesn't appear to affect the advance of the disc. It'll stay.
Marissa lands with the disc right now, taps in. Land looking up, thinking break side. And the flick sails off the hands of the in cutter, floating out of bounds. Revolution with another chance for a break. Revolution connects to the in cut. And a strike up line, now in the middle of the field. Looking back towards the middle now to create some more space for the offense.
Lily White drawing the tough defensive matchup on Cartagena. As we see a player down in the middle.
O'Connell goes down there.
Stands gingerly.
I think maybe some feet got tangled up there. Players are talking it over.
Okay. What's our stalling on? On 2?
And a foul on the offensive player. That one will go back. And a shot upfield, plenty of space, but the big D coming up from number 5, Dre Esparza. Dre Esparza with the big D there, but the quick turn right away. Revolution going back, another chance to punch it in.
Esparza making several of those deep plays this weekend, finding that space and getting up for the body, giving
the high release over the top. That one will go back, a pick called in the middle of the stack.
As you can see, a full cluster in the middle of the field right now. There is no room to move without jostling into someone else, especially trying to do it at speed. 9
times out of 10 right there with a big cluster in the field like that. A pick's going to get called, because even if it's close, and another cheeky little high release backhand to float it in.
Akina Young finding a way. I believe that's Laura Ospina on the reception. And just a trust throw, knowing Ospina is going to keep her feet inside the end zone.
You got to figure the first one felt good. Why not? We'll try it a second time.
Ospina's second goal of the day to go along with an assist.
Ospina currently living in Somerville, Massachusetts, not too far from here at all.
Not too far, practically a local.
That's a day trip. Leaf Volchek, the offensive juggernaut for Revolution Pro, back to pull. Right now, Revolution Pro up 11-7, 7 minutes, 54 seconds left to play here in the third quarter. And this broadcast is brought to you by Spin Ultimate, the official live stream sponsor of the Premier Ultimate League. And here comes the pull, left to right. A solid pull from Volchek, getting down close to the end zone. It'll find turf close to the sideline. And that one, a miscommunication. The disc ending up, and the big layout by Volchek to keep it alive. The miscommunication from Torch leading to the turnover. And Volchek already streaking back down towards the end zone. It's floated up, and Oh,
second attempt from Anneli Maja just falling short.
Maja's second attempt there, falling within just a fingertip of keeping that one alive.
On the Torch turnover to lead to that Revo possession, we saw the disc behind Sharon Tsao. Tsao able to come down with several of those yesterday, but that one asking a bit much. It's hard when you're full speed to catch something that's going behind you.
The break side throw upfield now. Connecting to number 4, Tsao. The sliding catch right in the middle of the field now. Now swung to the sideline. A shot up the sideline, closing in. Got to be thinking end zone momentarily here if you're Torch. Right now you're down 4. You're going to want to punch it in. Tsao with the disc, fakes the scuba over the top. Goes for the easier reset instead.
And Captain Lise Bjork at the front of the stack. Not where the disc is going, though.
Oh, a cheeky little scuba over the top for the score. And leaves that one up there like she just sunk a three-pointer.
Second goal of the day for Sharon Tsao to add to an assist. Torch getting it done.
And Sharon Tsao finding a great way to be in all the right places all the time on that point.
Saw the captain, number 2, Elise Bjork, with what looks like a new leg wrap on. Hopefully for Torch, able to stay on the field, been a rock with the disc, rock with the rock, I guess we'd say. As we see head coach Shireen Rabi heading out to the line, making those personnel decisions. Currently a 3-point game, Medellin up 11-8 on Austin. 6:35 left to play in the third.
A much more comfortable day for Ultimate than both these teams were competing in yesterday. We saw almost everything that New England can dish out between humidity, wind, rain, darkness, you name it, we had it. Pretty much anything short of a nor'easter, which is our fancy term for a bad snowstorm up here. Revolution Pro now on offense, moving the disc towards the middle. The person defense from Austin Torch, a straight up mark. That one's sailing overhead. A slight miscue there gives Torch their first opportunity of a break in this half. The offense has slowed a little bit in this half compared to what we saw, especially in the second quarter, where things really opened up for both teams. O'Connell will pick up.
And a shot from O'Connell.
Nobody home, though.
Tapped by Volchek and then made sure. Henderson in the area looking to make a play, but no chance.
Volchek could hear footsteps behind. Thought best to make sure this one's safe. Let me grab it. Always catch your D's. Revolution Pro continuing to move. Looking for some of that action out of the stack. Finding it. A shot deep. A wide open Volchek streaking down, making sure, hitting the deck, coming up with the Frisbee. Oh, and the fantastic D coming from the blind side right there. That's Nikki Gilbert with the D. A call is made, observer stepping in. A timeout from Austin. The clock will also be reset to 5 minutes, 19 seconds. Both teams looking to recalibrate right now.
And I don't think we're going to get to see it on the highlight reel, but I want to call out Gina Cartagena's defense on a dump set during this point. We saw her isolated against the reset for Torch and doing an excellent job triangulating. So not looking at her player, not looking at the disc, surveying the space in between and being able to see both, know both, and react instantly to any motion. That dump didn't have a chance to get open with the awareness Cartagena brought to the defense there.
Also in the tight defense, we saw Nikki Gilbert with that great hand block coming out of the blind side, denying the easy reset.
Sometimes when it's such a tiny little spot like that, 4 or 5 feet that you're trying to throw the disc, it's hard to put any pace on that. It's just you're basically lofting it to the player, and if there's a defender in the area, that's an easy disc to tap down. Nikki Gilbert doing a good job positioning.
And the awareness also to know, to be able to sense that that's where the reset's looking, having the hands ready and making the play immediately, jumping on it. The aggressive defense. Carly Atwell will pick up for Torch, get the offense started. Both teams making substitutions there during the timeout. We've also got number 3, Julia Schmaltz, back on the field for Torch. Stall count getting high, looking upfield now, and the phenomenal layout block there. That's number 7, Laura Ospina. Ospina's been making her presence felt on defense today. Several strong candidates for the player of the game. It's going to be a tough decision as we approach the end of the third. There's about 4 minutes and 46 seconds left to play. The reset now, about 15 yards out from the end zone. Now the high flicks floating in and brought down for the score.
Number 20 to number 3, Cartagena to Cardenas. Talk about people in the mix for player of the game. As Revolution on the near doorstep, it was crowded, a full swing around the field, and open space by the front cone to punch it in.
Nothing too fancy about it. Some of that textbook end zone offense we've seen both of these teams be able to execute so well. Take another look at this incredible layout D. Closing that space so far. We were talking especially a lot yesterday about how much tighter that window is at this level of Ultimate because of how fast these athletes are able to make up that space, whether they're chasing a disc down in a deep cut or trying to close that space on one of those faster cuts in. It does not take much room at all for them to be able to go full extension and take away what looks, maybe to us watching up here in the broadcast booth, like a pretty open window. Medellin to PUL. Austin waiting at the other end. They'll go right to left. The disc landing about 20 yards past center field. The reset closer to the sideline now, faking break side. The big flick coming. Hanging in the air, a few players waiting downfield. It'll be a 50-50 disc, and the one-handed grab looks like it's controlled and some contacts.
Atwell pulling it down. Aki Young, I believe, making a play, maybe landing on Atwell's ankle or something like that, but...
Great positioning from Carly Atwell as well. The box out to keep the space she needed to be able to rip that frisbee down. Definitely some contact there in the end zone. A brief moment. Everybody holds on to make sure everybody gets up all right. The big flick coming from number 95, Megan Mendieta. And the fantastic positioning and using the length to just reach over the top and bring that one home. Great hands, using just the right hand to pull that one in.
Mendieta, I've been looking at her all game, you know, a really solid player in the backfield. We've seen a little bit on the stat sheet, but hadn't shown up much until deciding to go make a play and putting Carly Atwell in the end zone to fend off the defense. Makes it 9-12, Texas, Columbia.
Mendieta in her first season with Torch this year. Also recently accepted a position as the Vice President of Youth Equity and Inclusion with the Houston Ultimate Community, the organization that runs a lot of the Ultimate scene down there in Texas.
Also Carly Atwell's first year on the Torch, so the rookies lighting up that 9th goal for Austin.
Medellin now in the middle of the field. They lead by 3, about 4 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. And another pick called coming out of that stack. Looks like it did not affect the play. They'll tap it back in. To the sideline now. And a shot to the end zone, hanging up, tiptoeing to keep the feet in. And Medellin's back on the board with that one. It was number 11, Katie Forth. Oh, wrong roster in front of me. Luisa Sanchez scoring on that one.
Speaking of Katie Forth, though, is it her birthday?
It is her birthday. See, that was what we call a happy accident. And a very happy birthday to Katie Forth out there, tearing it up on the Ultimate field today.
Andrea Sparza, number 5 for Torch. We see in the defensive position there, not able to deny Sanchez that goal, but has done so on many other deep shots this weekend. Esparza, a fearsome deep defender in PUL for Austin Torch.
So right now you're Torch, you're down 4. You've got a little more than a quarter of ultimate to play. If you're on the sideline as a coach, what are you telling your players? How are you approaching your offensive sets? Do you rethink maybe how quickly you're trying to score to think about closing this gap?
Well, from my experience with the team I know best this weekend, Portland Rising, in their Torch game, we saw them get a little, what would you call it, like short on the trigger in the second and third quarters and hesitate to really look to make a play, whereas they opened up in the fourth and scored gangbusters. I think especially going this right to left direction across the screen, I am putting a Schmaltz, putting an Eater, putting one of these dominant receivers on the Torch roster in isolation and sending them towards the end zone. As you can see, a lot of space right now, not deciding to send that one, not a really clear cut, but looking to make some plays quickly and using those receivers.
And there's one of those big shots that we were talking about anticipating, and it sails just off the hands. That is number 13, Ana Rojas, on the D up top. Getting big for some defense there, swatting it out of the waiting hands of the Torch cutter.
Second big D for Rojas today. Mendieta threw the last assist for Austin, trying to get in the end zone on this one, but no dice.
2 minutes, 34 seconds left to play. The disc tapped in. A chance for yet another break for Medellin.
See Annie Ortiz on the mark, blind to the disc, but not able to see where the disc was, but being able to throw a hand up.
Oh, and the fantastic D there from Austin, streaking downfield now. An opportunity to score. Looks like they are going to set up their end zone set. Try to punch it home. No need to rush things here.
Laura Gerenser setting up this opportunity with the run through. Mendieta to pick up the disc.
Ooh, and a fantastic job holding on to that there. Number 27, Carly Atwell, able to keep focus on the disc despite the contact from the defender. Schmaltz now, back to the middle. Atwell looking for the cuts, back to Schmaltz.
And the cutter you see directing the play on the field rather than the handler for a moment there. Sau with the disc. Schmaltz.
Sau looking for the reset.
The streak's not open enough.
Oh, and the fantastic extension to keep it alive.
Gerenser, second big play of the point.
And Gerenser goes over the top.
Make that 3.
Floating it in to number 3, Julia Schmaltz. And Julia Schmaltz, the third goal of the afternoon so far.
3 for 3. As Austin makes it 10-13, 106 to play in the third.
Both teams, lots of players filling up the stat sheet. We're going to need some more paper in the broadcast booth here in a few minutes.
See Atwell getting tripped, holding on, and then a trip for the defender on the way back up. Inches on the defense this game.
And a fantastic high release backhand over the top to Schmaltz, streaking towards the break side. Can't ask for anything better than that, especially after we got to give it to Revolution there. An absolutely fantastic job just stonewalling them at every other turn. O'Connell, the resident puller for Torch, back to send this one down to the waiting Revo Pro team. 13-10, Revolution lead. 1 minute, 6 seconds left to play here in the third quarter.
See a wall of 5 Revolution players across the back to start that point as they swing all the way across the field, changing the angle of attack. And number 11, that might be Katie Forth on Torch, taking up a lot of poaching space, a veteran who really, a veteran 1 year older today, knowing how to take those angles away. And you see her leaving, I'm not sure if you can see it on the stream, but leaving the entire defender behind to go take the area of greatest danger as Revo keeps marching towards the end zone.
A really nice job mucking up those in-cut lanes there. Oh, and a fantastic shimmy shake to create some space. Thinking break side, now the flick around, it'll float up, and a fantastic defensive effort, still caught just outside of the end zone, looking to punch it home. Not a lot of space, but finding the cutter for the score.
Man, it just seems like no matter how great defense Torch plays, Revo finds a way.
7 players on the field at all times who can get it done with a disc in their hands or not. It makes a really big difference, especially with the speed that they have out there. That's been something I've absolutely noticed. Every single player out there for Revolution Pro just can absolutely put the jets on at any moment.
Gilbert recovering instantly on the mark, but Ospina so fast. We talk about it all the time. Ospina able to dash to that sideline, bring in the disc.
Ospina back on this line as well.
Six seconds left, so possession, unless something fun happens, likely to remain with Torch at the end of this quarter. We'll see if they can maintain it into the end zone, or if we'll end this quarter 14-10, a 4-point deficit currently for Torch if they want to take home the championship from the international tournament this year.
Ospina, many years of Ultimate under her belt, been playing since she was 13, and has been part of this Revolution program since just 14. Revolution, so many fantastic years and incredible stories, competing at the national and international level. Now here in the professional scene, just missing on the big layout is Leaf Volchek. As time expires, that means the next turn we get, or the next score, will end the half and we'll head into the fourth quarter. The around throw now falling just out of reach and down into the turf to end the third quarter. Right now, Medellin Revolution Pro 14 and Austin Torch 10. 12 more minutes of Ultimate to play here. A close game and a very thrilling matchup right now between these two high-level teams. And look at some of the exciting action we've seen to kick off the second half so far. The big hucks downfield, and then the patient end zone offense to find it. Leaf Volchek, just as she did in the first half, continuing to make her presence felt in the second.
Andrea Sparza showing not to test her in the deep space. Leaf Volchek the same on the other end.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with your fourth quarter action here in just the next few minutes. Right now, it is Austin Torch 10, Medellin Revolution Pro 14 here in this presentation of the Premier Ultimate League.
Opponents. I've met my share of them.
I've gone up against thousands.
And if you want to beat them, you can't just sit on the sidelines.
You need to do what it takes to come out on top.
This virus is the opponent we're all up against.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
It's effective and can protect you and the people you care about.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves and let's get to the finish line together.
No. All right, and we are back here live from Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland, Maine, as we get set to kick off the fourth quarter of action between Medellin Revolution Pro and Austin Torch. This the championship game of the Premier Ultimate League's international tournament. Thank you very much for joining us. 12 minutes of Ultimate left to go here. A very close matchup right now. Rev Pro leads 14-10, but both these teams have shown an ability to put a lot of points up on the board very quickly. This game's certainly anything but out of reach right now for Austin. Torch in the white, Revolution Pro in their blacks. Torch sets a pull to start off the fourth quarter. The waiting offensive line for Revolution Pro on the left side of your screen. O'Connell with the pull, the resident puller. That one catching a little bit of air underneath it and will fall short of midfield. Excellent positioning to start off the fourth quarter for Revolution Pro. Their first quarter not starting on the defensive side of the disc as well. The shot underneath. And another pick called. Seen plenty of that today. Tight defense typically means a few more calls being made. And both these teams playing very in-your-face person defense, some smothering zones as well. Disc tapped back in to the center. Looks off the first few cuts coming out of the back of the stack. Now the reset, a little shovel pass up to the handler, now streaking it down to the sideline. Reset back to the middle. Revolution Pro looking for their options on offense. They're very patient here in the end zone. Looking to Volchek, bouncing in and out of the hands, also the defender's hands all over that one.
It's like an uncontested foul call, Eater bumping Volchek. Volchek able to maintain possession.
And a nice little strike cut up into floaty pass, not quite enough to punch it in. They are inches away from the end zone. No call there. That is number 59. Michelle Catano scoring for Revolution Pro. Her first time on the board this game.
And the 5th assist for Cartagena. You see her center handler, also 2 goals to her name today. 7 points on the stat sheet. Really directing traffic often, and also, as you see here, making the final pass.
Cartagena always cool under pressure in situations like this, waiting for the cuts to play out, waiting for just that little bit of space that you need when you're that close in the end zone. And patience wins out there, as it has all weekend long for Rev Pro. They have won every one of their matchups so far this weekend here in Portland.
Seeing some sun protection there from Gabriela Jimenez. It is beating down. As we mentioned, the temperature is better, but certainly this long in the sun is going to drain you. So doing some protection from the sun, and Gabriela Jimenez, the youngest of 10 and a yoga teacher, in addition to her play on the field.
That may explain the patience. As the youngest of 6, I can relate. Another zone look here for Rev Pro. They haven't thrown as much of this in the second half as they did the first. They mainly stuck with person for the third quarter, but a solid job breaking out of it. And now a shot downfield. It's floating up and into the end zone and into the hands of number 19. That's Gabby Quina. Gabby Quina on the big score, laying out the extension of the right arm to bring that disc home.
Number 19, Gabby Quina.
Let's see that one again.
You got to figure Torch needed a play like this as well, especially coming out already down to start the half and then giving up a score right to start. A quick point like this to keep things close moving through the early part of the fourth quarter is going to be huge, and just such an impressive ability to extend the arm, control the body despite making that hard contact with the ground, and bring the disc home.
Saw Torch captain Sharon Sow in the middle of the field, dishing that disc out to Mendieta with no mark, lots of open field, and just putting perfect touch on it, letting Quina run on, and bringing it back to a 4-point game, 10-19 to play.
So thrilling just to have both of these teams here. Of course, last season for the Premier Ultimate League, like every other facet of life for everyone, derailed, interrupted, disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Each team finding a way to power through it, having remote workouts, getting their rosters back together, finally finding ways to get together, practice safely. Now, traveling North America competing in some of the highest level ultimate that there is.
The disc called in.
Alejandro Torres with the disc. Some tight feet there on the sideline, very close.
We're good. What are we in on? One? Okay.
Observer says it's the feet were in. And a shot at the sideline there. Thinking end zone, Leaf Volchek goes up, unable to connect. The second effort soars close to the back of the end zone. Leaf was thinking about her fourth, potentially fifth goal of the game there. And the impressive D from Torch to shut the door.
That's that Ronnie Eater, Leaf Volchek matchup that keeps lighting up Eater's second big D of the game. And as you saw, making sure there was no second effort, heroic attempt from Volchek there. Not allowed to impede the body of someone else. I think if Volchek had a play through, the outstretched arms might have been a call. But as it is, Torch going the other way.
And the nice shot upfield to cover a lot of ground here from Torch. They've got the numbers and the momentum moving towards the end zone. Not quite there yet, tiptoeing very close.
That's Stedman looking for their inside, and Eater
Stedman now thinking, oh, a violation called.
As she'll discuss with the mark. We saw Eater striking through. Volchek could not have been closer, dancing together in the end zone.
Back to O'Connell now. And O'Connell striking towards the end zone. They look, oh, and the near collision and the spike, an exciting play there. That was Abby Thorpe. Abby Thorpe making the impressive run, the give and go to find the space and find the end zone. 8 minutes, 28 seconds left to play. A 3-point game here between Torch and Revolution Pro.
Abby Thorpe, as we get to see the D again here, Eater tapping it out, making sure, and then on the other end, Thorpe extending fully up in the air for the goal, and I think outreaching her teammate, Ronnie Eater, to bring that one in.
Thorpe also a coach of the University of Dallas College program, where she also played and began her ultimate career. All right, under 8.5 to play here, a 3-minute game in this absolutely thrilling matchup. And you've got to think that Torch is looking for more points like that where they can score quickly, take advantage of that. When we were talking about some adjustments that they can make, it's not that their offense isn't working. It's oftentimes being their own worst enemy, letting some of those small mistakes and turnovers, and Revolution Pro's not going to let any of those go unpunished. So it's a matter of how clean of a final half of the final quarter are they going to be able to have. A big flick up the sideline now, curling back in bounds and brought down.
That's Leaf Volchek bringing in her 5th of the game, scoring past Lily White, and Revo making that one look easy.
Leaf with 8 on the night last night, 5 on the night so far. It's going to be close. Leaf, one of the speediest players on the field. The matchup against Eater, also 2 of the most explosive players that we have in this entire tournament right now. It's been very exciting to watch.
The captain Torres throwing that assist, her 3rd of the night. As Revo looks to become the winners of the international tournament in the 2021 PUL Championship Series. They have 8 minutes and a 4-point lead to hold on to make it happen.
And here comes the pole now, a lower flying pole, but sliding down. That one getting some good distance. We've seen the poles coming left to right there because of the wind, falling fairly short, but forcing Torch back into some slightly more challenging field position, able to make up some of that with a few quick throws. Zhao now looking for the scuba over the top, connects. Now the reset back to the middle to Schmaltz. Schmaltz looking upfield, the backhand, and the incredible layout D. Wow.
Catch block. Second big D of the game from Jimena Montaña, really making an impact on the defensive end. I mean, anytime you get a layout D that sticks in your hand, you have worked for that one.
The full superhero D as well. With all she was missing was the cape dragging behind her. Just crossing center field. The big hammer over the top, looking to the end zone and connecting. Oh my goodness! Almost too casual about that incredible play. The enormous hammer going up and over the top of everybody to find the cutter waiting in just the first few steps of the end zone. My goodness! First, let's take a look at this incredible replay of the D from Montaña that sets up all this. This incredible hammer doesn't happen without that enormous D. And now the big hammer over the top, spending 3-4 seconds in the air before it finally comes down, connecting with number 7, who else but Laura Ospina. Ospina all over the stat sheet tonight. And that may be the easiest one that she's been able to bring in. Fell right into the breadbasket.
We talk so much about Cardenas's incredible IO flick and how she's able to hit that weak side of the field, make it hard for any defender to make a play on it. That time, what do you even call a play like that? A little more, I feel like there's so few players in the world who are known for the IO like Valeria Cardenas, and then to see her make the even bigger play with the hammer, I mean, truly one of the most elite throwers in the world.
Sheer confidence with the disc in her hand also. Just absolutely oozing confidence to be able to take that disc in stride and not think, maybe that's not there. The first instinct is easy, got it, over the top and connecting. Just absolute confidence.
Right in the breadbasket. A beautiful, beautiful throw.
Oh, that one very close, but staying up. That's number 26, Amy Broom, with a big effort to keep this possession alive for Torch. They need a score here to keep this one close enough. And that one's sailing just out of bounds before the pylon. It'll come back to the sideline with Revolution looking to take it the other way. But a lot of field to make up for them. Looks like there may have been a call made back at the disc. Torch will keep possession. A foul call on the throw. Right now, number 11, Katie Forth. The swing back to the middle now. And that one falling just out of the reach of O'Connell. This is where you got to think with just under 6 minutes left, Torch has got to be thinking score immediately. Start taking some looks towards the end zone. The timeout called there by Medellin Revolution Pro.
If you're Torch, what are you talking about right now?
I mean, we've seen some more of those little mistakes, the miscommunications, whether it's been the bladier throws or even some of those throws ending up behind the path of the cutters. This is a good timeout for everyone to recenter. Remind them that there's time left on the clock and that don't be afraid to take those big shots because you need to take them, but also, this is just ultimate. Just here to play. Don't worry about what's on the clock. Just worry about making the right throw in that moment.
I think I'd take a different coaching perspective there. I mean, hopefully we'll find out at some time what Coach Shireen told them, but I think it'd be confidence. You know you're great ultimate players. Go out and make a play. 6 minutes left. Trying to correct the mistakes might be too little too late. You got to get in the end zone. Someone go be a hero and make the play for your team.
Be a great player, make a great play.
We see a zone look, Eater in the middle.
And a big mark from O'Connell, one of the biggest marks that we have on the field.
And again, taking away that back, you can see the mark forcing, leaving open towards the goal area as this clearly a carefully designed mark from O'Connell and team. Looks like it might even be shifting by thrower, as Revo doing a lot in this little area, but
finding plenty of space down the side now. Staying with that zone set. Revo looking to create some space upfield, swinging things back and forth up the line now, but not a lot downfield.
Right on the sideline, Maja to Gomez, as that Atwell mark very close. Gomez drawing the foul.
Some contact made there. Stall will go back to 0.
Atwell taking away all dunks.
Shot over the top. It's going to float up. A chance for the D, and they take it. Torch back now going the other way. An opportunity, like you mentioned, to your great players. Go make a great play. Can they translate that energy to offense?
That's what Austin wanted out of that zone. They got it.
Yeah, really taking away any and all options upfield on that smothering zone. Now the big around throw. That one's staying up about 15 yards out from the end zone now.
And a down call from the sideline observer, one of the active calls. They will make looks like possibly some discussion. And the
both offense and defense seem to agree that that was up.
One aspect of the rule set, players can overrule. So, for instance, if you commit a foul, the observer says you did not, but you know you did, you can take the responsibility for getting that called. Looks like Aki Young, with decent perspective, nearby on the field, trying to call the disc up. And that's exactly what we saw on the field. It's a player overrule. Sau maintains possession.
Great spirit there from the players as well, making the call that they feel confident about. And streaking towards the end zone. Fantastic, and the big elbow spike to punctuate the score.
O'Connell to Esparza. Torch isn't done yet.
3 minutes, 14 seconds left to play here in the final quarter of the championship game here in the Premier Ultimate League's international tournament. Another look at this big D over the top, floating, and the fantastic defense there from number 18, Laura Garanser. And that defense sets up even better offense, and you love to see the energy from the players. The nice friendly elbow spike. Just a reminder of, hey, we're out here having fun. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank some of our partners here from Portland Rising. Our partners like Girl Scouts of Maine. Girl Scouts of Maine is beyond proud to support Portland Rising. Before they were Ultimate Legends, many team members were Girl Scouts, and they are groundbreaking role models that girls need today. Girl Scouts of Maine builds girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Join or volunteer today. You can find more information at girlscoutsofmaine.org. That's girlscoutsofmaine.org. The pull now coming from O'Connell, streaking down, landing just around center field and rolling towards the sideline.
Torch looking for a stop.
That one will roll back just at about midfield.
And
but they take it where it goes out, so about 5 yards before midfield. To the middle now. Revolution on the break side throw upfield, continuation. Looking for something in the middle, they find it. Leaf Volchek to the sideline now.
Atwell drawing the Volchek matchup this time. As Revo knocking on the door, Torres
connecting
the goal.
And a big hug in the end zone there for the connecting players as their lead grows. Medellin Revolution Pro now leads 18-13 over Austin Torch with just under 3 minutes left to play here in the fourth quarter.
Luisa Sanchez bringing in that goal for Colombia, the 18th of the day, and Sanchez's first time catching in the end zone. Oh, excuse me, second time. Congratulations, Luisa. 2 goals on the day, 2 minutes, 49 seconds for more action.
Sanchez always plays with the glasses on. Before Ultimate, she was a dancer and says that the glasses help her keep a sharp eye on this. Playing with the sunnies on today. The sun pretty low in the sky right now, and not all that easy to track the disc as it's flying through the air. I prefer to play blind. That's how I go for it. It's just to catch the big fuzzy white circle coming towards you. It's fine. And the pull on the way now. Revolution Pro leads 18-13. 2 minutes, 49 seconds to play here in the fourth. And in the last 2 minutes, the clock will be stopping on anything. And a big error there for Torch, now setting up an opportunity for Revolution Pro to capitalize and extend their lead to 6. The throw getting away from Torch, the backside, the break side finding in the end zone. That is number 96, Magnine Foreo.
Manji Ferrero, I think, with the quick goal there. Revo's got to feel pretty good about how that puts things away. Only 2:34.
And a little dancing in the end zone there. The nice backside throw underneath, terrific.
The flexibility needed even to get down to that pivot position, much less have strength and control to get the disc exactly where you want it to go from there.
And to get it not just under the hands, but under the feet of the outstretched defender.
That is high-level athleticism.
About 2.5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. A commanding lead that is growing for Medellin Revolution Pro. Austin Torch, still a lot of fight left in this game.
Laura Guerrero getting set to pull here as Revolution looking like they're on their way to a tournament win. A nice left to right pull and Esparza to pick up. Torch, no point in patience now.
O'Connell in the middle, looking back to the sideline. A little junky two-person cup there on the mark.
Esparza able to find space, sneaking up the sideline. We're seeing, I think that's Berrigan streaking, but doesn't get the disc.
And this spaced out zone taking away the opportunity to maybe take any kind of big desperation shots towards the end zone right now. The observer stepping in to check in on the players. They're having a discussion about the call.
Okay. All right, cool. So as soon as they're ready, you can ground check.
Here and there from our observer on the field. A pick called further back in the stack and back in action.
Finding Berrigan to O'Connell. This is nice patience offense from Torch, but
you almost want to say too little too late though, unfortunately. A nice job finding some space. The shimmy shake to gain 15 yards downfield, now inches away from the end zone.
I mean, this has been really nice offense from Torch. See this 10 minutes ago? Wow.
Could have a very different game on our hands right now.
It's been solid offense the whole way, but this is an outstanding zone offense point. Really threading the needle with such confidence.
And when we're talking about some of the best ultimate players in the world, the room for improvement is minimal. We're being hyper picky.
Our observers.
As long as you're both comfortable. Yep.
Doing a lot of work today.
And out. The spring to the backside, and then O'Connell finds the end zone. The disc coming into her hands, making it 14-19, a minute and a half left to play here in the game.
2 goals in a row for O'Connell. We've seen her behind the disc more often than not today, but ending up in the end zone there, the recipient of a beautiful around swing from Amy Broom.
O'Connell all over the stat sheet, but also a lot of what she does doesn't necessarily show up, especially being that big mark, making so many of those reset and around side throws just nearly impossible. A smothering defensive presence. And the steady hand of the offense back as a handler as well. O'Connell says that she is left-handed in 99.9% of things in life, and the 0.1% is ultimate.
I mean, it clearly works for her in ultimate. I'm not questioning that.
I have no notes. And that right-handed pull, notably, from O'Connell coming downfield now.
Cartagena with the disc right now. Gina Cartagena, also the Spin Ultimate Player of the Game. An incredible stat line today. 5 assists, 2 goals, and still on the field working. Just a field general and getting it done on both sides of the disc. A dominant performance from Gina Cartagena. You're watching this on the Spin Ultimate broadcast. Spin, the presenting live stream sponsor of the Premier Ultimate League. Gina Cartagena, what a game. Congratulations.
And Cartagena, the consistency that we've seen out of her all weekend as well, always being there to make a play, rarely making any rash decisions, turning the disc over, a very steady hand for the offense, and not only back there in the handler spot making the right decision all the time, but also streaking upfield and making some really incredible athletic plays, finding the end zone.
We have another pick on the field, one of the stories of this game, the pick situation, as we have 43 seconds left in the 2021 Premier Ultimate League Championship Series International Tournament. The East Tournament wrapped up earlier today. That's 2 of 3, the third, and your third chance to watch Premier Ultimate League teams competing in this Tournament Championship Series is in 2 weeks, August 28th and 29th, hosted by the Milwaukee Monarchs in Wisconsin, and featuring Columbus Pride and Indy Red.
And a pick called. There's about 17 seconds left to play here in the final quarter of action. Right now, Revolution Pro on the doorstep of taking home the championship. The team traveling from Medellin, Colombia, and finding the end zone again one more time. Looks like there was yet another pick called here in the final seconds, about 14 seconds on the clock. Revolution Pro right now up 20-14 over Austin Torch. With the clock expiring momentarily, Revolution Pro will go undefeated on the weekend, taking down both Portland Rising as well as this Austin Torch team twice. An unrelenting offensive showing.
Can I go to the observer?
Yes. So the call is a stall. It's contested. It's coming to me. It's not a stall.
Okay.
It's going to be a goal.
Thank you.
Yep. I think it was a little rushed at the end. Yep. So it's a goal.
All right, hearing there from our observer on the field. Thought there may have been a stall, but clears that up. That is going to be yet another goal for Leaf Volchek, the 6th on the game today. In the final seconds of the game, one more point on the way with 14 seconds left on the clock as Revolution Pro extends their lead 14-20. Lots of hugs here on the field as they know the championship trophy is now just seconds away. More Torch players heading back out onto the field now for what will likely be the final point of the game. And we want to thank you very much for joining us here in this presentation of the Premier Ultimate League for the 2021 PUL Championship International Series. And a very special thanks to those joining us here in person at the stadium. If you've enjoyed this live stream today or any of the live streams you've watched this weekend, please consider donating the cost of a ticket to the PUL. Donation links are available in the live stream. You can also head to premierultimateleague.com/donate. Once again, that is premierultimateleague.com/donate. The Blady pull now rolling towards the end zone. Torch picks up. 14 seconds now ticking away. They'll take one more shot at the end zone. Here's Schmaltz. As time set to expire, when the buzzer sounds in the 4th, it's over. The hammer towards the end zone, floating up, and that one batted away. That'll be the game. Game and championship for Medellin Revolution Pro. An absolutely incredible outing for them here in Portland, Maine this weekend, going undefeated. Once again now for the 2nd time in a row, beating the Austin Torch. A celebration on the field now, both teams coming together. Both teams thrilled to be a part of this exciting matchup this weekend as well. This international tournament with these teams and Portland Rising on Friday and Saturday. a culmination of more than a year of work throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Teams and athletes working as individuals, separately, meeting each other and their teammates on Zoom and over FaceTime, and finding ways to build up that team, build up that chemistry, connect with their teammates. And you see the spirit on the field now. Both of these teams so thrilled to have been able to share this experience with each other. A bump now of forearms and elbows, a sign of respect between these high-level competitors. Some of the best Ultimate players in the world showing their stuff here as part of the Premier Ultimate League in this tournament in Portland, Maine this weekend. We're going to head down now towards the sideline. Maddie's waiting with an interview to tell us more about the game with one of our star players that we saw. Maddie.
All right. And we are here with Livka Valchek, the outstanding offensive performer of the game. You had 8 goals last night, 6 today. That is incredible offensive production. What helps you find the end zone like that?
Honestly, I give most of the credits to the throwers. Like, I mean, you saw it. I basically just had to clap catch in the end zone. So yeah, credits to the throwers.
So your first time playing with Revolution, you've been with them just a couple weeks now, getting to play with throwers like that. How was it slotting in as a new player with Revolution and getting to play with all of these talents?
They've all been super welcoming and yeah, welcomed me super open-heartedly, and I just feel very happy and lucky that I could get to be a part of that and all that happiness and joy that Revolution is.
And so much of the culture, we see it with the dancing, we see it in the joy on the field. Such an incredible team to be a part of. What's next for you in Ultimate, Livka?
World Games.
World Games, you'll see her there. Thank you so much, congratulations.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, Maddie, thank you very much. A standing ovation here at Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland, Maine for both of these teams who put on an absolutely incredible display. High-level Ultimate being played at the professional level. And now, Medellin Revolution Pro are your champions, going undefeated on the weekend. And hey, I think we're going to have a little bit of a dance party here in the center field. These teams celebrating such a fantastic competition together all weekend long. I don't know when they had time to rehearse this. They've been busy playing Ultimate the whole time, but we love to see it. This is a fantastic showing of the spirit of game, respect, and love for the game and their teammates and competitors that these players have for each other. Lots of fun being had between these players coming from all over the world to compete on these high-level professional teams as part of the Premier Ultimate League. And if you've been enjoying these streams all weekend long, we want to thank you for joining us as well, and those who were able to join us here in person at Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland, Maine. If you've been enjoying these streams or the streams of the East Championship happening as well, we want to remind you that we need your support. If you've been enjoying these streams, please consider donating the cost of a ticket to the PUL. Donation links are available here in the live stream. You can also head to premierultimateleague.com/donate. Once again, that is either the links here in the live stream or at premierultimateleague.com/donate. And thank you very much for joining us this weekend. The players here having a whole lot of fun on the field at Fitzpatrick Stadium. I genuinely don't know when they would have had time to learn this. This is incredible. They do it all, but both teams do it all the time together. I'm being told that this is apparently a regular thing with these teams. And a lot of love on the field right now between both teams. Taking a look at some of the highlights that we've seen today. Incredible action over the top. And we want to thank you very much for joining us. This broadcast has been brought to you today by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate is the official live stream sponsor of the Premier Ultimate League. An amazing weekend for Revolution Pro. They come in, beat Portland Rising on Friday, and then beat Austin Torch yesterday as well. Come back today, a similar showing, putting up 20 points on the board. Absolutely incredible smothering offense and remarkable defense as well. The final score of this one, 14-20, Revolution Pro from Medellin, Colombia, taking home the championship here. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.